How do you trap a human? Not with a cage, not with chains, but with a simple idea. Hold on. Don't let go. There's more waiting for you. Once, an old merchant told a story about a traveler who wandered through a remote desert village.
The traveler encountered a man sitting calmly beside a small wooden box tied to a stake in the ground.
The box had a narrow slit carved into its top, just wide enough to slip a hand through. Curious, the traveler asked, "What's inside the box?" The man smiled. "Treasure." The traveler, unable to resist, reached inside the box. His fingers touched a handful of shimmering coins. He grabbed them eagerly, then tried to pull his hand out, but he couldn't. His fist, full of coins, was now too large to fit back through the narrow opening. He tugged harder, twisting his arm, scraping his skin, sweating under the desert sun. But no matter what he tried, the man could not free himself unless he opened his hand and released the treasure. Hours passed. The traveler grew desperate. Finally exhausted, he looked at the man beside him and groaned, "Why can't I get free?" The man calmly replied, "You could leave at any moment, if only you would let go." The traveler refused. He remained trapped until nightfall, held not by the box, but by his own desire. This, the old merchant said, is the nature of greed. Greed does not trap us by force. Greed traps us by choice, our unwillingness to release what we think we must have. Greed is the intense, restless desire for more wealth, more power, more status, more control. It's one of the 7 deadly sins, not because wanting something is bad, but because wanting becomes needing, and needing becomes never enough. Greed whispers, "You'll be happy when you earn that much. You'll relax when you own this. You'll finally be respected when you achieve that." But when you get the thing you hunger for, the satisfaction fades. So you chase more, then more again, and more still, until, like the traveler's hand in the box, you become stuck, ensnared by your own clenched fist. Greed in the Christian tradition. From a Christian viewpoint, greed isn't wrong because money is evil. Money is neutral, useful, even necessary. But the love of money, the obsession with gaining more, is where the trouble begins. The Bible warns that you cannot serve 2 masters. You cannot devote yourself to God while also devoting yourself to the pursuit of earthly wealth. Greed diverts the heart. It shifts your focus from others towards yourself, from compassion towards consumption. Christian teachings encourage generosity, contentment, humility, values that break the grip of greed. These principles remind us that true wealth is not measured by possessions, but by peace, relationships, and love. And unlike material wealth, these things can't be stolen, lost, or inflated away. Why greed never satisfies? Imagine you finally get the house of your dreams. You feel proud, excited, fulfilled. For a week. Then you see someone with a bigger house, a nicer car, a more luxurious lifestyle. Suddenly, what once satisfied you feels small. This is the trap of greed. It always moves the finish line. A person driven by greed believes happiness lies one step ahead, a number in a bank account, a title, a possession. But once reached, the goal shifts again, leaving a lingering emptiness. The desire grows, the happiness does not. As many philosophers and spiritual teachers have said, the more you have, the more you want. Greed enlarges appetite, but shrinks contentment. The psychological roots of greed. Greed isn't just a moral issue, it's a human one. Several factors contribute to it. 1. The myth that wealth equals happiness. Society constantly shows us images of luxurious lives, tropical vacations, sports cars, penthouses, implying that richness guarantees joy. But many who have made it remain anxious, lonely, or unfulfilled. 2. Fear of scarcity. People often accumulate wealth or possessions as protection against future uncertainty. Even those who have more than enough still feel insecure, fearing loss or downfall. 3. Personality traits. Narcissism, entitlement, and impulsivity often fuel greed. A person who feels superior, deserving, or addicted to instant gratification is more vulnerable to falling into the cycle of wanting more. 4. Biological impulses. Humans evolved to store resources to survive. In modern society, this instinct can spiral, turning survival behavior into compulsive accumulation. Greed may look like wealth, but at its root, it is often fear. How greed divides people. Greed does not just harm the individual, it affects communities and societies. Throughout history, the pursuit of wealth has led to exploitation, injustice, and conflict. When a small group acquires more than they need and guard it fiercely, resentment grows among those with less. Greed creates social divides, the haves and the have-nots. It turns neighbors into rivals, colleagues into competitors, and strangers into threats. It fuels corruption, inequality, and mistrust. It causes people to hoard resources, money, land, opportunities, while others struggle to survive. Even nature pays the price. Forests destroyed, oceans polluted, species driven to extinction, all so that a few can profit. In its worst forms, greed destroys not just individuals, but entire civilizations. The vanity of greed. Greed promises fulfillment, but delivers emptiness. It convinces us that happiness lies outside ourselves, on shelves, in vaults, on spreadsheets. But the more we chase external rewards, the further we drift from internal peace. Material pleasure is temporary. Contentment is internal. Greed blinds us to what truly enriches life. Relationships, kindness, compassion, creativity, purpose, community, and inner peace. These are the treasures that never fade, never depreciate, and never trap us. But greed distracts us, making us believe that joy requires more than we currently have. In truth, the less we need, the more we can enjoy. As the philosopher Epicurus said, "To make a man happy, do not add to his possessions, subtract from his desires." Greed does the opposite. It magnifies desire until nothing satisfies. And so, the person ruled by greed is never rich, because they are forever wanting. So, is greed always bad? Ambition is not greed. Wanting to improve your life is not greed. Dreaming big is not greed. Greed is different. Greed is when the desire becomes obsessive, when you step on others to climb higher, when you sacrifice relationships, ethics, or peace of mind for more, when enough keeps slipping out of reach. Some argue that greed can drive innovation and economic growth. And yes, many discoveries were born from people seeking profit. But almost every benefit of greed comes at a cost. Widened inequality, environmental damage, exploitation. Greed can build cities, but it can also destroy them. So, is greed the root of all evil? Perhaps not all evil, but much suffering comes from the relentless desire for more. Greed promises freedom, but traps you. It promises happiness, but drains you. It promises fulfillment, but leaves you hollow. The traveler at the box could have walked away at any moment, yet he remained stuck because he refused to open his hand. In the same way, many people today are trapped not by circumstances, but by their own clenched desires. The lesson is simple. Sometimes the only way to be free is to let go. Thank you for watching.